first of all, last night, a pretty incredible result. The boys did a pretty good job to get you guys there in the end.
Yeah, it was a close game, wasn't it? And I think it's really important for the confidence of the team if you get those little testers early on in the season and just somehow find a way to scrap and win it. Obviously, it was nice for the skipper to just see us home, and it's also nice just for that middle order of ours to get some runs in them. I think that'll be really good leading through the competition. And also the wicket yesterday, you could see there was a bit of spice in it. But I've seen a few of the venues so far. This big bash, there is a little bit of movement for the bowlers as well. So yeah, we made it a little bit hard for ourselves, but we're very happy to beat a very strong team.
You mentioned Ashton's innings. It was a pretty kind of, I guess, inspiring innings from the captain to take it all the way.
Yeah, super calm. You can see obviously it's been situations that he's been in before a lot in his career. So someone like that is who you want in a tight finish. But really pleasing, I think, for us as a batting unit as well, to see him finish a game off like that. We've done some good things with the bat, and also had a few games where we probably haven't batted as well as we should have. But I think as long as everyone is contributing in different games throughout the season, then you take that as a very confidence booster for the batting lineup.
It was a pretty good crowd as well. I think 26,000 showed up. That must have been pretty nice to play in front of a fairly full kind of furnace for the first time with such a passionate crowd on Boxing Day for you.
Yes, I mean both games that we played, has been very well supported. Certainly the games we played away, it feels like this is the biggest crowd that you get in the Big Bash, just the game so far. So that's very well done to all the fans here in Perth coming through. It's an incredible stadium, isn't it? It's you just wowed every time you walk through there. We don't have facilities like that in South Africa. It's just super professional. Everything is it looks really, everything is perfect. So amazing stadium. I'm very happy to be playing there.
You missed out last night, but you kind of started to show some signs of good form, especially in the last innings. You got away pretty well last night, but then you got a good one. How are you feeling about your form at the moment, how you're going?
Yeah, really good. I mean, I think last night the plan was, those smallish totals is to try and take the game on and not try and sit on it, especially with a wicket that had a bit of something in it. So the mindset was to go out there and be positive. Sometimes you're going to get it right, sometimes you're going to get it wrong, but yeah, feeling like I'm hitting the ball nicely. And as I said, it's just important that different guys put their hand up throughout the season, and even the guys who haven't contributed so far, you feel like their time will come, and then that's a really important thing for a batting unit.
You've played obviously a lot of international cricket and domestic 2020 around the world. The bowling lineup for the Scorchers, is this one of the better bowling lineups you've probably played with, and it's certainly a domestic competition. It's pretty strong.
Sure, it's a very good bowling attack. I'm surprised that they've been together for so long that other teams wouldn't try and snap them up because they are so successful. But you can see the blueprint that works so well over here. You've got the tall, fast, bouncy bowlers that just maximizes everything on that wicket, and then obviously a bit of left arm swing and seam as well, and two really good spinners that are very, very different. So yeah, in terms of versatility when it comes to what you have at your disposal, I'm pretty sure that AT is extremely happy that the options that he has from a bowling perspective. And yeah, I'm also a big believer that bowlers are the guys that will win you tournaments, and that's obviously a record that the Scorchers has got. They've won 4 times, I think. Yeah, 4 times they've won, and I'm sure it's because of that proper bowling unit that they have.
Who's claiming the credit for the power play? Whose decision was that? It's quite unusual, but worked magnificently.
The surge you talk about last night, yeah, I mean, I think the chat generally with those things was, I think, certainly my observation from that was, at that stage we just needed singles, and almost if you take the surge, then it feels like you need to hit boundaries, and then obviously then it creates chances for the opposition to get wickets. So especially with Rashid Khan bowling, from our side, all we were looking to do is just get a few ones away, because the run rate wasn't very high, was it? So it was just a case of not getting out. So I thought we played that perfectly. I think from their side, maybe looking back, they would have thought maybe Rashid Khan could have bowled one of the surge's overs, but probably they try to get another wicket before the surge. So yeah, we timed that perfectly. But was also really impressed the way Richardson played Rashid Khan. He looked like a top order batter. They're just showing the boys that it's not that difficult.
And he had a crack at him about it's not test match cricket, mate. It's not
Yeah, you could see he was a little frustrated there. And obviously, you're going to try and do anything to get that wicket because as long as we were not losing wickets, we were always going to win that game. So I think the key for them was to try and strike. But he's an amazing bowler, and when he gets his tail up, you can see last night he was hungry for wickets.
You've already played a bit of cricket with Adam Life. He's sort of struggling for runs a little bit. What's it like batting with someone at the top of the order that is struggling a little bit? Do you have a message for him in a bit of a tougher period?
Yeah, I think what I've certainly seen for players going all over the world is there's always a little bit of almost like a blend-in time just to get used to conditions. I mean, it's the first time he's really playing in Australia, and the wickets here are so different. The grounds are so much bigger. So you just got to give someone the time. I know there's always an expectation that we want everyone just to hit the ground running and perform, and sometimes that happens. As a batsman, you find yourself you get off, you're hitting the ball well, and you score some runs, and then you're away, and then your competition almost just runs with that confidence. But the flip side of that is sometimes it is a little bit tricky just to get used to the conditions. So I think for him it's just a case of he's obviously a very good player. I know from playing with him that his game is actually suited for these conditions. He plays space well and he plays very square. It's just confidence. The game of T20 and batting is all about just feeling confident. So one innings where he gets away and hits the ball a few times in the middle and just gets to spend a bit of time in the middle, that will do him so much good. So yeah, as I said earlier, it's just about every guy getting that opportunity right throughout the season, and hopefully everyone can contribute. From my and his side, we're not here for the whole competition, so I think he's here for 8 games, I'm here for 7. So he's still got 4 games to make a contribution. And I know the dressing room, the coaching staff, the captain is very supportive of all the players in the team. You feel that backing. So as a player, that's all you can really ask for.
Do you feel any external pressure given that you're here for such a short period of time to perform every game, or do you try and just back yourself?
No, I think for me it's always just trying to find like you're adding value. So even if you're not scoring runs, you are still bringing something to the team, whether it's your experience, your knowledge, working with AT on the field around angles and bowling changes and stuff like that. You just try and contribute as much as possible. And if it comes to runs on the day, then it's great. But I always look for all the different areas where I can contribute. So luckily the team's playing well and we're winning. So I feel like there's still a few good innings in me before I go back.
How have you enjoyed Perth, and what's the reception been like from the Australian fans around the place so far?
Yeah, it's been great. It's really nice to be on the side where I'm not on the other side for once. So when I go down to the boundaries, I can feel that there's a lot of love from the Perth Scorchers fans. Amazing amount of people that's coming in, but even afterwards, getting to spend time with the locals here, signing autographs for all the kids. Obviously, there's a big South African contingency in Perth. Me and my family has really enjoyed it. When you come to Perth with the national side, it's a little bit different. You don't get to see as much. So this has been really nice with the family to just see all the little things, go down to the beach, explore the different beaches. We went to, not a zoo, but a park today to go play with the koala bears and the kangaroos. So yeah, it's a great place for a family to come over. Everyone feels like they can do whatever they want to. So it's really great for me, and I'm really enjoying it.
You've obviously got the Stars next, having only played them a few days ago. Was there anything that you sort of made note of out of that game that you're looking towards for Thursday night?
Yeah, I think it's just form, isn't it? Like we're in a bit of on a roll, and I've been around for long enough to understand that you have to really respect the space that we're in as a team now. That form and that confidence is something that other teams are desperately trying to get. So we're on the upside of the wave now. It's really important that we respect that and take care of that, and the small things. And then I think we're still playing good cricket. Whereas if you look at someone like the Stars, that's a very good team, are just fighting for that momentum in T20 cricket. So yeah, just make sure we keep doing the basics really well. They've got a nice bowling attack as well with some really good seam bowlers, and obviously Zampa is a quality leg spin bowler. The bigger ground is I think what suits all spinners, isn't it? The other day when we played him, it was a little bit smaller, the ground, so you could feel like you could attack him a little bit more with the nature of the bigger grounds, which is obviously what he's used to bowling at Melbourne as well. So yeah, it will be. I'm sure he'll be coming back with a much better bowling performance.
There's been a lot made of your friendship with Marcus Stoinis, who's a Perth boy, even though he's playing for Melbourne. You're
Yeah.
looking forward to taking him on again and maybe trying to hit back over his head first ball again.
I didn't know that he was from Perth. I mean, I thought obviously looking from afar, knowing him from the Australian team and playing for the Stars always, that he's a Melbourne boy. But I did find out that he plays all of his cricket here with these guys. He knows them very well. He lives here in Perth. So yeah, the plan is to hopefully get to spend some time with him away from the game. We've always just spent time on the cricket field, so actually hopefully get to do something in Perth when he comes back.
You've only been with the side obviously for 4 games so far, and it was a late kind of decision to join. I know it's early stages, but could you see yourself wanting to come back and spend the summer in Perth and play with the Scorchers again if that opportunity presents?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously now I think the nice thing is for me, you know your schedule, you know what is the time frames during the season when you've got available. I've always said that coming to the Big Bash is something that I really wanted to do. So I'd be very keen to come back next year. I think everything is, first of all, to join a franchise that's very successful is a great place for a player to come into, but then all the other boxes that get ticked along the way as well is very pleasing for me and my family. So we would love to come back.
On Marcus, there's a little bit made of him missing last night's game to spend more time in Perth. Are you someone that looks at that and goes, we want the best players playing in every game, or is it just something that needs to be done to sort of manage guys through the tournament, taking breaks like that?
I think so. I mean, obviously, Cricket Australia or the people that make sure that they manage players, it's always really important to look at individually where different players are. I don't know where Stoin is, but there would be chats around that and making sure that that balance is there. Too much cricket, making sure that you still feel like you're fresh enough to do. There's so much cricket these days, but I do also respect that people want to see the best players playing all the time. But yeah, they probably feel that it's a nice thing for them just to get a little bit of time to spend a bit more time at home and then bring that fresh energy to the matches.
Kind of a follow-on from Mitch. Obviously, Mitch Marsh is who got you here. Not being able to play with him this season, is that kind of an incentive to come back and do it again, to hopefully to be able to play with him?
Yeah, I said to him last night because apparently he's the captain of the social committee. So I said, apparently the guy said, you're this great captain of the social committee, but I haven't seen anything. Like we haven't seen you this trip. But he's such an amazing guy around the group. Every game he's here, he's supporting the guys. I've always really enjoyed my time with him and would love to play with him. I think he's one of the best T20 players around at the moment in terms of his batting. So to have him slot in at number 3 there would be, I understand why the team has been so successful with him there. So he was a huge loss in terms of a name on a paper for the team. But it would be nice to get an opportunity to play with him and bat with him. I've never had that opportunity. Just always against him. And even captaining against him is a nightmare to captain against because he hits the ball so hard.
Just quickly, be remiss not to ask, obviously you're former captain, so you're watching the Test series. South Africa struggling a little bit. I'm assuming you've been watching it pretty closely. What have you made of it? Struggling again, obviously, the second Test.
Yeah, I have actually been following it quite a bit. Obviously, you've got huge interest in and care a lot about the South African cricket team and what they do. So I've watched quite a bit. I think the first Test was a case of it was a spicy wicket. Probably both teams found it challenging to bat on that wicket with extremely good bowling attacks. But yeah, yesterday I thought the wicket looked a lot better. It looked like a very good Australian Test wicket. If you get through the new ball and you get the partnership going, then batting does get a bit easier. So I think that was always the case in the chat around, South Africa coming years. The fact that they score the runs. We know that there's wickets in that bowling attack, but just managing to get a total on the board. And we've seen today that Australia makes batting look pretty easy. Davey Warner has an amazing 200 double century. So yeah, under staring a deep barrel there in terms of the pressure that will be on that team. But I know from being in that dressing room, guys that try and want to fight to make sure. That's the most important thing for us as South Africans, is that we never give up, we keep fighting. But yeah, it looks like the Australian team, I think always playing against them, you feel like if you give a team the opportunity like that to get their sniff in the series and their confidence up, it's really hard to get it back. They play so well with that confidence.
Do you stay in touch with them, and do you kind of keep in contact like a Dean Elgar and reach out and kind of offer him some support when things on field might be a little bit tough?
Yeah, look, you always respect people and their role in a team, but you are there from a caring perspective. So I'm there if someone wants, Dino as an example, if there's something you would talk about, of course I'm always there. But you're also very respectful of being that guy that seems to sit on the outside on his high horse and makes the game look a lot easier. So yeah, I'm supposed to hopefully meet up with some of them when we go back to Melbourne now to just meet up with a few guys that I haven't seen in a long time, and then hopefully chat a bit of cricket. Yeah, they know what to do. I think it's just a case of finding that there's some batters that needs a bit of runs. Obviously, from an experience point of view, if you look at the amount of experience that there is in terms of the batting unit, it's still a very young, inexperienced batting lineup. So that in Test cricket is a tough thing. I've been part of batting lineups as well, where if you don't have the experience, it's quite tricky. And then you compare that with the Australian team. There's some proper experience behind those batters and a lot of confidence in their home conditions.
Faf, one more on your batting. Fascinated by your backlift. It seems like you've gone a higher sort of thing. There's been a bit of talk about it. Is that a T20 thing? Are you trying to access square of the wicket?
Yeah.
What's behind that, and is it something you've worked on for a while?
Sure, is it higher?
I think so.
Is it higher? Yeah. Sometimes I'm not sure why it does go higher, but I definitely think it's T20 cricket. Now when I look back on, I've always had the wood chop technique, but now when I look back on it, in Test cricket especially, it was a lot lower. But I think it's just trying to get the hands back, and that's what we're trying to do in T20 cricket, is to try and make sure that backswing or that hands get back as far as possible. But it's also a rhythm thing, so sometimes it's just trying to find the rhythm of the bowler running in. But it's different, isn't it? There's not too many of those around in cricket.